I never believed in ghosts. I want to make that clear right away. I'm a man of reason, of logic. Or at least I was. Whatever happened that night, it didn't care what I believed or didn't believe. The shadows have a way of bending reality until it cracks. And mine cracked in a way that I'll never recover from. It all started when I inherited my grandfather's house, a large, creaking Victorian mansion tucked away in the thick woods of Maine. He passed away suddenly, a heart attack while sitting in his favorite armchair. For as long as I could remember, he had been a quiet, secretive man, and I hadn't visited him in years before he died. But now the house was mine, and I didn't have many options left in life but to move in. The first time I stepped through the front door, the air felt heavy, like walking into a room full of whispered secrets. The house had been vacant for over a year, and it showed. Cobwebs hung from the corners, and the faint smell of mold clung to the walls. There was something else in the air, too. Something I couldn't quite place at first. A faint, bitter smell, like burnt wood and something else. Something rotten. I shook it off. Old houses always had strange smells, I told myself, but the unsettling feeling didn't leave. It only grew stronger as the days went by. The house had a way of creaking at odd times, of settling in ways that didn't feel natural. Every night, I'd lie in bed and hear the groans of the old wood, the distant clattering of something moving in the walls. It was as though the house itself was alive, shifting, breathing. Sometimes, I thought I heard soft whispers, but when I'd go to check, the house was still, as silent as a tomb. I kept telling myself it was nothing. My mind was playing tricks on me. I had been through a lot, financially and emotionally. I was just vulnerable. That was all. But the mind, you see, it has a way of seeing what it wants to see, or what it fears to see. One night, I was lying in bed, staring up at the ceiling, listening to the house murmur to itself when I heard it. A soft thud coming from the basement. I froze, every hair on the back of my neck standing on end. The basement. I had been avoiding it ever since I moved in. Something about it didn't sit right with me. The door was locked when I first arrived, and I didn't bother looking for the key. Whatever was down there, I told myself, could stay down there. But now, there was something there, and it was moving. I got out of bed, my feet silent on the old wooden floor. I grabbed a flashlight from the drawer, and as I made my way toward the basement door, that smell, the burnt, rotten smell, grew stronger. I stood in front of the door for what felt like an eternity. The air around it was colder, unnaturally so, like stepping into a freezer. I held my breath as I unlocked it and opened the door. The smell hit me full force then, like a wave of decay and charred wood. I gagged, covering my mouth with my hand, but I pushed forward, shining the flashlight down the creaky stairs. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing the stone walls of the basement. And then, I saw it. Something moved in the far corner. Something that wasn't quite human. My breath caught in my throat as the thing shifted into the light. At first, I couldn't make sense of it. It was tall, impossibly tall, its body gaunt and elongated. Its skin was pale, almost translucent, and its eyes... God, its eyes were hollow, black pits. It just stood there, watching me, waiting. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. It was as though the very air had turned to lead, pinning me to the spot. The creature cocked its head to the side like it was studying me, and then it stepped forward. Its movements were jerky, unnatural, like a marionette being controlled by invisible strings. I don't know what happened after that. My mind must have blocked it out because the next thing I remember is waking up in my bed, drenched in sweat, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst from my chest. For a brief moment, I thought it had all been a nightmare. But when I looked down at my hands, I saw dirt under my nails, and my clothes were covered in dust. I had been down there, and whatever that thing was, it was real. I didn't go back to the basement after that. I couldn't. But the thing, it didn't stay in the basement. I could feel it, watching me, waiting. At night, I would hear soft footsteps just outside my bedroom door, or the faint sound of breathing when the house was supposed to be empty. The final straw came a few nights later. I woke up to the sound of something whispering my name. At first, I thought I was dreaming, but then I realized the voice was coming from just outside my bedroom door. Slowly, the door creaked open, and I saw it, the creature from the basement. But this time, it wasn't standing in the shadows. It was right there, at the foot of my bed, its hollow eyes staring straight into mine. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I tried to move, but my body was paralyzed. The thing leaned down, its face inches from mine, and whispered something in a language I couldn't understand. The words were thick and twisted, like they were being forced through a throat that wasn't meant for speech. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it was gone. The door was shut, and the room was silent once again. But I knew it wasn't over. I left the house the next morning, packed whatever I could fit into my car, and drove away without looking back. I don't know what that thing was, or why it was in my grandfather's house. All I know is that it's still there, waiting for the next person foolish enough to step through those doors. I still hear it sometimes, in my dreams. The soft thud of footsteps, the whisper of something dark and ancient calling my name. And I know, one day it will find me again. No matter where I go, it will always find me.